Compound inequalities. First of all, let's talk about what a compound inequality is. What's an inequality? Inequalities are those things that tell you what that's something that's greater than, less than, whatever. Compound means they're putting two together. And just like with English, I guess, you can either have a and compound inequality, or you can have an or compound inequality. Now, before we talk about those inequalities, think about what the word and means and what the difference between and or is in our language. If I said both the boys and the girls can go to the gym to play, what does that mean? Boys and girls can go to the gym to play. That means, Kylie? Okay, that means they're put together, they're combined. I don't know if this is going to make sense when I'm done. This English might not work. Maybe that's not right, is it? Let's just skip that. Let me go, but let's go into the concept. Before I say that, I want to make sure what I'm saying is at least somewhat true. Here is an example, and then we'll talk about it, because I might be leading you down some path of despair. X is greater than 1, and X is, let's find it here. X is greater than 1, and X is less than 4. Ah, well, good. Maybe I'm right with my thinking. What does this mean? Well, when you're looking at this, if you look at when X is greater than 1, you've got this. Here's 1. It's an open circle. X is greater than going this way. Correct? Yeah. When you have X is less than 4, I'm going to draw another line here. Here's 4, open circle, and the line goes this way. Okay? But because this word and, okay, when that word and is in there, it means that both have to be true. Okay? The place that's true on this is the overlap. In other words, if you kind of draw a dashed line like this and a dashed line like this, okay, what makes this true? What numbers are both greater than 1 and less than 4? 2 and 3, or the numbers in between. So really, when you have an and one, it's those two graphs put together, and what it looks like is just this. There's an open circle at 1 because it starts at 1 but doesn't include 1, and it goes to an open circle at 4, and it's only this stuff in between that is true.
So there's 2 arrows.
There's no arrows.
Oh, no.
It starts here and it stops there. Now, if these would have had equal signs under them, you could color in the circles or whatever. You can put your little arrows on the little number line that goes on, but this is the only answers you can possibly have. Something that's less than 4 and greater than 1. Okay? Opposed to what an or is, if I said that X is less than 3 or X is greater than 6. If I use that word or, what does that mean? That either one of them could be true. They don't both have to be true at the same time. I want any number that is either less than 3 or a number that's greater than 6. Really, what are the only numbers you couldn't have? 4 and 5, because here at 3, X is less than, going this way, could be any number, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative, whatever. Over here at 6, it can be any number greater than. So they go off in opposite directions. And that's the general rule that you're going to follow, okay? Or compound inequalities are going to go in opposite directions. You are going to find that the arrows are going to shoot off in different directions. And one, there's going to be a set starting point and a stopping point, okay? Because X is greater than 1 and X is less than 4. Now, would that work with my analogy where I said both boys and girls can go, or both boys or girls? And I don't think it works. I don't think it works quite that way. Now, the and one, I thought it was going to work well. rather than writing the and one like that, you can put the and ones together. Let me find it here. Don't worry. Like this. If I said x is greater than -1 and x is, I gotta find it here, less than or equal to 5. X is less than or equal to 5. You can write this without the word and like this. You put the x in the middle, okay? You put the smaller one to the left side, the bigger one to the right side, okay? And you have these signs like this, okay? This is the same thing as that, they just put it together, and it's read like this. X is greater than -1 and less than or equal to 5, okay? And the signs have to go this way, okay? It can't work the other way around, because there'd be no solution. Because if you flip the signs around, you're saying that x is less than -1 and x is greater than 5 or less than 5, and there would be no answer to that. Okay? And it's really easy to graph this because all it is like this. Here at -1 there's a circle, it's open because it's not equal to. Here at 5 there's a circle, it's colored in because it can be equal to, and then you color in the middle. Okay? This, by the way, I believe is called a conjunction. Is it? Let me look and see. Yes. Ands are called conjunctions, as in what's your function. Okay. Ors are called disjunctions. And that kind of makes sense because they're disconnected. A junction is a connection, a connecting point. Conjunction means they're put together. Disjunction means they split apart. Let's do another one. If x is less than 3 or x is greater than 9, if it's an or problem, here at 3, you're going to go this way, because it's less than it that way. And x is another open circle at 9, going that way. It's the and or the orders.
How could x be less than 30 and greater than
Huh?
9? How could
Because it's the word or. It's saying this. You want to like an example of something that happens for it? I'm looking for one here. Yeah, she's looking for a situation. And I'm looking for one in here. I don't know.
make 3 pieces of pie or
I'm looking for one. They'll give you one here.
not
Here you go.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Here you go, Steph. Right here is one. If you look at problem number 10 in the book, it says a human being cannot hear a sound that is below 0 decibels and has a pain threshold of 120 decibels. Write a compound inequality that describes the decibel levels that the human beings cannot hear that or are too painful. So in other words, when it's 0, you can't hear it because it's too low, but when it's 120, you can't hear it because it's too painful. So, what can't you hear? You can't hear when x is less than 0, and you also can't hear it when x is greater than 120 decibels. So there is your A
So there's
disjunction.
sounds you can hear.
Yeah, like the dog whistle. Dog whistles are so high you can't hear them.
I played one on YouTube when my dog started freaking out.
Yeah, the
Oh, did
Stacy
they really?
started twitching. She's like,
Was this before or after the video?
My dog hides behind my chair.
Your dog is so
In the morning, he like runs back there and it's like shaking.
He's
Just,
so
like,
like
fidgety.
I tried to go to pet him, and he starts shaking. I'm like,
Hold on a second. We're not quite done yet. Don't lose focus here.
good time saving.
Dude, his name should be Phobia.
No,
I'd say it if I could remember what it is.
Snack.
Don't say it. See, that was I was
my mom.
trying to lull people to sleep. You can't just be shouting it there, Patty, no. Write this one down, please. X minus 3 is less than -5 or negative 2x is less than -6.
How do you write this without?
Without the or,
Yeah, because you said you could write one without the and.
you can't. Ors always have the word or.
Could you put it?
Can you just put like an O?
And the R.
Can we make like a symbol for it?
Does an R really take that much time to draw?
Yeah.
Okay, and here's what you gotta do. I don't want to throw you into great shame or vice or whatever here, but unfortunately, you're going to have to solve both of these. Okay, which means it's just like, but with inequalities, you gotta make sure that your number letters are on the same side and they're positive, whatever. First one, you gotta just add 3 to both sides. So x would be less than -2. Or, thank you very much, here's where you have to be careful. When you divide by a -2, that changes this from negative positive. The sign has to change. Divide this by -2, you get a +3. And then once you get that, they're going to ask you to graph it. You have an open circle at -2, x is less than. You have a open circle at +3, x is greater than. So it's just a combination of those sort of things. Let's see, hold on a second.
So it's like double the work from the bottom.
Yes, if you're looking at it from an efficient doubling the work category, that would be it. That's very, very true. Any questions on that? I was thinking they had some that you had to solve. There are harder ones to do, but I don't see them here. I'll look one more time, just to make sure. Look at page 483, please. Take a look at letter B.
Wait, B or
Letter B. Letter B.